King H2 of Fabiano Caruana and Magnus Carlsen in Norway 2024 round classical 4. Hello my fellow chessers. I'm gonna show to you, my fellow chessers, the chess game between Fabiano Caruana and Magnus Carlsen in Norway Chess 2024 round classical 4. Let's begin from the top, my fellow chessers. So, let's begin from the top. E4, E5, Knight F3, Knight C6, Bishop C4 Italian game. Knight F6, D3, Bishop C5, Castles kingside, D6, C3, Gyuko piano game. A6, A4, Bishop A7, H3, H6, Bishop E3. This is Gyuko piano, pianismo variation. Bishop takes E3, F takes E3, Bishop E6, Bishop takes E6, F takes E6, Knight B D2, Castles kingside, Rook F2, Queen E7, Queen B3 attacking the pawn on B7. Rook B8, Rook A B8, Rook A F1, Knight D8, Queen D1, B5, A takes B5, A takes B5, Knight H2, Knight F7, Knight G4 attacking, Knight F6, Knight D7, D4, C5, Queen E2, C4, Knight H2, Knight F6, Knight G4, Knight D7, Knight H2, Rook A8, B3, C takes B3, Knight takes B3, Rook C8, Rook A C8, Queen D3, Knight F6, Knight D2, Queen C7, Queen takes B5, Queen takes C3, Knight H F3, Queen takes E3, D takes E5, D takes E5, Knight takes E5, Knight G5 attacking the pawn on E4, my fellow chessers. Queen D3 challenging the queen, black queen. Queen C5, Knight E F3, then Rook C D8, Queen B1, Knight H5, threatening Knight G3, Queen C1, Queen A7, Queen A1, Queen B6, Queen B1, Queen C5, Queen C1, Queen E7. What's the idea of Queen E7? Knight takes G5, Rook takes F2, Rook takes F2, Queen takes G5, Queen C3, Knight G3. Wow. King H2, Rook takes D2. Brilliant move of Magnus Carlsen. Queen takes G3. Why Fabiano Caruana didn't take the rook on D2? Because if we take this example, Queen takes D2, we have Knight F1, as you can see, fork. And if you take the Knight on F1, we have Queen takes D2. An example, if Rook takes D2, Rook takes D2, we have Knight F1, then King H1, as you can see, Queen takes D2, As you can see the board, Magnus Carlsen is leading 1 F1 knight. Let's continue the real game. So that's why Fabiano Caruana take the G3 knight. So Queen Rook takes F2, Queen takes F2, Queen E5 check on H2, my fellow chessers, at the same time attacking the pawn on E4. King G1, Queen takes E4, Queen A7, H5, Queen E7, Queen E1 check, King H2, Queen E5, King G1, King H7, Queen E8 threatening H5, H4, Queen E7 threatening H4, my fellow chessers. Queen D4, and then King H1. As you can see, the evaluation bar is draw or equal. So Queen A1, King H2, Queen F6, Queen E8, King H6, King G1, E5, Queen A4, Queen F4 challenging the Queen. As you can see, the Queen on A4, Queen C6, King G4, King G5, Queen C7, Queen D4 check, King F1, King F4, Queen takes G7, King E3, King G1, good move of Fabiano Caruana, E4, Queen H6 check, King E2, King H1, E3, Queen A6, King F2, King H2, blunder of Fabiano Caruana. The best continuation on this position is Queen A2 if you're maintaining a draw or equal position, my fellow chessers. So let's continue the game. What if E2? We have Queen F7, my fellow chessers, and King E1, Queen F5. This is drawish. King D1, Queen H5, Queen D6, Queen G4, King D2, Queen G5 check, King C2, Queen F5, unstoppable check, my fellow chessers. Queen G5 and Queen D2 example, we have Queen C5, King D1, Queen H5. You can't promote the E pawn because of Queen on H5. As you can see, H5. So let's continue the real game. This is equal position, unstoppable check. But King H2 is blunder of Fabiano Caruana. E2. After E2, Fabiano Caruana resigns the game. Why? Because if you continue the game, example, Queen A2, we have Queen F4, King H1, Queen C1, King H2, checkmate on G1.